You ever notice how every conversation about generations seems to skip right over one? We analyze boomers like they're a historical artifact. We meme millennials to death. Gen Z gets treated like a social experiment in real time. But there's this whole generation in the middle, Generation X, born somewhere between 1965 and 1980, who just quietly keep the world running, barely making a ripple. They're your boss, who never overshares. The parent, who shrugs off drama. The neighbor who fixes their own fence and never posts about it. And here's the thing, Gen X might be the most misunderstood generation alive today. Let's rewind. Imagine it's 1982. You're 10 years old and you walk home from school with a house key on a shoelace around your neck. Both parents are working. There's no cell phone, no GPS, no way for anyone to check in. You let yourself in, microwave a snack, and figure out how to fill the hours until someone comes home. By the mid-80s, millions of kids were doing this every day. It wasn't called independence. It was just life. That empty house taught Gen X more than how to be self-sufficient. It taught them that the world doesn't wait for you. If you mess up, you deal with it. If you want something, you figure it out. There was no safety net, no instant feedback, no likes to validate your choices. You learned to read the room, anticipate consequences, and keep your guard up. Gen X watched their parents promise stability, then watched those promises fall apart. Divorce rates soared, layoffs blindsided families. The message was clear. The rules can change at any moment and you'd better be ready. So, Gen X learned to expect the unexpected. Some call it cynicism. They call it being prepared. And that's why you don't see them oversharing online. Privacy isn't a trend for them, it's a reflex. When you grew up knowing that your mistakes would fade quietly into memory, the idea of broadcasting your life to strangers feels less like freedom and more like exposure. It's not about being anti-technology. It's about understanding that what you keep to yourself can't be used against you. Irony became their armor. If you can laugh at something first, it can't hurt you. Gen X grew up with the threat of nuclear war, with teachers running drills for disasters that no one could really prepare for. They learned to live with uncertainty, to hold hope and skepticism in the same hand. But here's what's really interesting. Gen X developed a work ethic that's almost invisible. They don't brag about their hustle. They just show up, do the job, and move on. Their first jobs weren't about building a resume, they were about survival. Delivering newspapers at dawn, flipping burgers, fixing things that broke because there was no one else to do it. They learned early that competence is the only real job security. They don't trust authority blindly. Titles mean nothing if you can't do the work. They respect skill, not status. They've seen too many leaders fail, too many systems collapse. So they keep their expectations realistic and their loyalty close to the chest. Gen X is fiercely independent but quietly reliable. They won't ask for help, but they'll show up for you when it matters, no questions asked. They built their own support networks out of necessity, not convenience. And when it comes to information, Gen X remembers a time when finding answers took effort. Hours in the library, flipping through encyclopedias, learning by doing. That effort made knowledge stick. It made them resourceful, adaptable, and unafraid to get their hands dirty. Now they're raising kids in a world that's the opposite of the one they knew. Constant supervision, instant answers, everything documented. They want to give their kids what they never had, but sometimes worry they've made things too easy, too exposed. Here's the truth. Gen X might be the last generation that truly knows what it means to be alone with your thoughts, to solve problems without a screen, to value privacy as a form of strength. They're not louder or better than anyone else, they're just different, shaped by a world that demanded resilience and rewarded self-reliance. They're the bridge between the analog and digital worlds, and like any good bridge, they don't ask for attention, they just hold things together, quietly, reliably, expecting nothing in return. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing for more deep dives like this, and if you want to support the channel, hit that join button. Thanks for being here.